Travolting presents The Fraser's Edge. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering the Fairy GodParents WISHOLOgy. With special guest, Angelica Rosen. Timmy was an average kid that no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him command. Big twerk! And gloom up in his room. Those when it's silly. When the magical fish got his every wish. Cause in reality, they are the Travolting Podcast. Presents the Fraser's Edge to
Immediately stops. Dead.
Yeah. Thank you, folks. No.
Wait a fucking that was a good intro. I'm not
You like
gonna
that?
lie. That was
You
good.
like that?
I like
Pretty
even
good.
the interruption with the Travolting and the Fraser's.
Yes, folks. Welcome to our episode covering the Fairy GodParents WISHOLOgy, and I'm just gonna get some fucking facts straight right now.
This has been a hot debate.
Yeah, because I know some people will be like, I thought you said you're never covering TV.
Wow, that's a perfect Stuart
Yeah, it
impression.
was a very good Stuart impression.
Hey.
We've said from the start we cover TV movies. We've covered them in the past. Child of Darkness, Child of Light, Boy in the Plastic Bubble, etc., etc. Now this, I was originally did not have this on the schedule because I'm like, it's 3 episodes of a TV show. It is not the case. I discovered this is officially classified as a television movie.
A long television
A
movie.
long fucking television movie. Now here's the thing. I spared us. You're going to be fucking thanking me in a second. Because you know what this technically classifies as? 3 television movies. This is technically 3 separate television movies that are cut together into one big movie. I could have insisted to keep with the bit that we cover each of them individually.
But they're the same length of an average episode.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
Fairy
Average
GodParents is on
episode
average
like 20.
11 to 12 minutes. The bulky episodes are 22. These are 45 to an hour. They are classified as television movies. If I had insisted we cover each of these individually, we would be doing 3 episodes on this. And aren't you fucking glad that we aren't?
I mean, watching them all together was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie.
This is maybe the longest movie we've ever covered.
It's very long.
This is the longest movie you've ever covered.
The past 5 movies we've covered have been 90 minutes long.
Okay.
Up to 100. This is
2
over
hours,
2 hours
and 15 minutes.
Yes.
This is the runtime.
This is bulky.
Yeah. For a kid's, a elongated kid's TV episode, essentially, which is what it is.
Yeah.
I felt the length.
Yeah.
I really felt the length.
It's funny. I actually remember watching this live.
I do as well. It was in the deepest recesses of my mind. But when I saw the intro of just him as Tio, I was like, oh, it all came back to me.
Yeah. Oh, first I'd just like to welcome Angelica to her first appearance on this podcast.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up? This is really weird.
Yes.
Long-time listener, first time
guest. Long-time listener by choice? Question mark.
I plead the 5th.
I may or may not have put this on in the car when we're driving somewhere.
Yeah, definitely only once or
Jeff,
twice.
you do that with
not
Becca
almost
too,
every
right?
time.
You're on a long drive, you're driving somewhere, you're like, what should we listen to? And you're like, I know, and you put on your own podcast.
I've never put our podcast on in the car. I have put other people's podcasts on in the car, but I've never put our podcast on in the car.
Do you listen to our podcast?
I do.
Do you?
I don't listen to every single episode, but I do listen to it.
I think that's gonna bite you in the butt a few years.
Look,
in the
I'm
future.
trying to listen to 2 other podcasts right now, and I'm 2 years behind on one of them.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
This is essentially, it's like investing into another
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah, and I don't
We're
watch
over
much
100
TV.
episodes.
We are over 100 episodes. We did a special episode to commemorate. But no, I'm trying to listen to Blank Check, which I'm 2 years behind on, and I'm also keeping on with former guest of the show, Cole Bradley's podcast, Above the Line, covering the films of Colin Farrell. I'm trying to keep up with that, too. So, and his episodes are 4 hours long. It's crazy. Just shout out, Cole. Yeah.
Wow. If you could see Stuart's face, it's just pure disappointment.
Pure disdain.
Just boosting their numbers and not ours. It's whatever.
I skimmed through our episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So Wishology.
Yeah, Wishology. So we're here this week to cover Wishology, a bona fide television movie. Came out in 2009.
Holy shit.
It was a 3-day event.
Right. It was
broadcast May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd.
That's iconic.
Yes. Like,
One,
Nickelodeon
2, 3.
just stamped it down. And is like, May 1 through 3, Fairly Odd Parents territory. Back off if you think you're getting anywhere near there.
Wow, they really bought into the entire trilogy bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go a little bit into the history of this thing. Firstly, thank you for listening to our episode last week on Inkheart. We hope you enjoyed us discussing that very boring movie.
We had some words and thoughts.
We had some words and thoughts in that episode. We've definitely already
But Paul
recorded.
Bettany. Whoo!
Smoke show. You got to see.
I mean, I agree.
You simply have to say it.
You simply have to say it.
But no. So we're picking up with Brendan right after Inkheart, which we kind of established was his last gasp of Hollywood stardom.
Yeah.
That was basically the end of it all, in regards to him being like an A-list leading man. And I would say this is kind of part and parcel, the other side of the coin with that. Because, it's not necessarily a sign of career death when you do a guest spot on a kid's TV show. Like, Johnny Depp, at the height of his success, did SpongeBob SquarePants. So this is not necessarily a mark on Fairly Odd Parents being what he did.
Right.
But even the character he's playing here is a former action hero who missed his shot and now just kind of has to pass it on to the next generation.
Oofta.
I think, like, you gotta hate.
But
you hate to say
doesn't realize he missed his shot until he's constantly told, like, dude, stop.
You literally have to like throw him into a mountain to
and leave him to
sense.
starve.
Leave him to die.
So he has a coat or a rock for a friend.
And the movie that we're going to cover after this, which I think we're signaling as the end of his A-list era, is G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra.
Which is very much a passing of the torch role for him.
Oh my God, he was in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra?
He is.
Yeah.
No.
But it's very much like he is like, it's a passing of the torch. He's not really that big in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like supporting character.
Yikes.
And so that and this kind of two-hander with the failure of Inkheart and, Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Not, I mean, it made money, but it wasn't like the blow-up they were hoping.
Right.
Kind of all signals the end for him.
Yeah.
At this stage in time, which is tragic.
Yeah. Taken too soon.
Yes. Because even when he's, recording this, he's going through a messy divorce.
Yeah.
He has 2 young kids. His back pain and his, injuries are at the worst stage right now, around 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to, give his all in a kid's animated TV show that doesn't really do anything for him.
Right.
So that's where we're checking in with Brendan in the sad corner.
Play some sad music here.
Yeah, we'll go into the context corner for this movie, which is a little funnier. So the creator of Fairly Odd, let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah. Back to the beginning.
In 2002 or 2001, Fairly Odd Parents debuted on Nickelodeon, the hip and new channel for young. It wasn't new, but the channel for the kids, capital T, capital K. It was about Timmy Turner, a 10-year-old boy, and his 2 Fairly Odd parents, Cosmo and Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just like every episode he'd wish for something that would go wrong. It'd be an adventure.
Yeah.
Eventually, Fairy GodParents got very big. And I think the fatal flaw of the later sections of the show is just how into itself it got.
Yeah.
Because I watched Fairy GodParents basically up until this point.
I would say the same for me. I'd never watched Wishology as a kid. I made it up to the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours, which, whew.
Look, Jimmy Timmy Power Hours hit.
It's
differently.
big.
Those Power Hours slapped, and I think they got one more in the tank.
Stuart, you wrote a fan script for Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 4
I
as an
did
adult man.
Write
Yes.
a fan fiction of Jimmy Power Hour 4, the Saving Timmy Turner.
Oh my god! Can this guy just go to Arizona already?
It is. It is modern day in Washington D.C.
Here we go. Here we go, folks. Get ready for the next 2 hours.
No, we cannot let this happen. We cannot let this happen.
A depressed and sad loaf of a man of the age of about
Does he smoke crack?
25, 27 years, Jimmy Neutron,
Yeah, he smokes crack.
played by Daniel Radcliffe.
Like live action?
Yeah, this is live action.
What?
This is live action, guys. Did I mention this is rated R?
You should give a trigger warning.
This is rated R.
Okay, so Fairy GodParents really got into itself in later. Like Cosmo Wanda had a baby named Poof,
Poof, and
who is
he's a
very
circle.
cute. He's very cute.
Yes, Poof is.
They did Wishology. They got a magic dog at some point. They introduced like a second character who they were the fairies for, like this girl.
Oh yeah.
Like it just really got too big for its britches, and that's where Fairy GodParents very much like kind of. I mean, I grew up, so it kind of lost me at that point when I stopped watching Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I didn't make it to Poof.
Yeah.
Like I
got to Poof and this, and that was the end.
Yeah, I didn't even make it to Poof. I think I capped out the last Power Hour, and I just realized that they kind of lose Mega Chin pretty early.
Crimson
on.
Chin?
Crimson Chin.
No.
It's
because-
Crimson Chin and the Nega Chin.
I think it's because Jay Leno was very expensive.
Oh yeah, it's Jay
Probably.
Leno. Jay Leno.
Fair
Crimson Chin.
I think I got as far as when they brought in the dark fairies. And
Oh,
then there was
yeah.
there was the dark version of Poof that was extremely smart,
Yes.
and he was a cube. And after that, I was like, I need to stop.
This is enough.
Yeah.
The Fairly Odd Parents, it was such a mark of its time.
Yes.
Because when it came out, the big guest stars in the show were Jay Leno, Adam West
Yes.
as
Yeah.
Catman,
Yeah.
and then which of the Backstreet Boys was it? Who was Chip Skylark?
That feels like it was probably.
I'm looking it up. It was
Chip Skylark's in my Power Hour 4 script, by the way. Shiny teeth at me, shiny teeth at me.
He is voiced by Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's NSYNC, and if
Yeah.
it's NSYNC, it's I was gonna say Joey
I would think Joey Fatone or Justin Timberlake. But
Fatone. Definitely not Jay.
not T.
Yeah. I mean, this was a staple childhood show for me. It definitely the best kids movie intro theme song by a pretty substantial amount. I mean, you have like your classics. You have SpongeBob, of course, which everybody can sing. But I really think this song holds like a special place in like everybody's heart. The moment you hear the orchestral layup, the dun 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 dun, everybody knows right away. And you can't help but start singing like Timmy is an average kid.
You just.
I said Jimmy.
You said.
Sorry, I got Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 4 in my head all again. It's hard to get it out. And the show it's no longer airing, is it?
I think it is.
It is not. It ended in 2017. There is, however, a live action reboot that just started airing on Paramount Plus in 2021.
I did hear about
Wait, what is this?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Oh, the Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder.
Yes.
It did not last long because
Yeah, it
on
lasted
IMDb
one
it says
season.
2022 to 2022.
It looks like it was removed from Paramount Plus.
Probably.
Like it just doesn't exist anymore.
This is the main poster. I mean, you still have animated Cosmo
That's
and Wanda.
fucking nightmarish.
And where's Poof?
They no
Dead.
longer have Poof.
Poof is no longer there?
He got SIDS and died.
Oh God. Oh, that's so sad.
Well, where's Jorgen von Strangle?
I feel like that's a hidden movie in itself. Fairly OddParents, what happened to Poof?
Got SIDS and died.
Do you guys remember that live action the live action
with Drake Bell?
With Drake Bell.
No, remember they made 3 of them with Drake Bell?
Oh
Drake
my
Bell
God.
and that I can't remember her name, but she's in almost every single Nickelodeon live action show ever, and she usually either plays the ditzy girl, or the insanely smart girl. And I remember she was in Zoe 101.
Really quick, it's not Drake Bell, it's Drake Campagna.
Oh right, he changed his name.
He changed his name
when he moved to Mexico. He changed his name to Drake Campana.
So
he moved to Mexico,
so he wouldn't get deported,
to try and
right?
flee his
charges.
Yeah, his charges.
Oh my.
And he changed his name to Jake Campana. And he said, "Well, you cannot deport Drake Bell because he does not exist anymore."
This bitch.
I'm showing them a picture of Drake Bell, pink hat.
I just admire that he just, rather than go under a full assumed name, he Googled what is Spanish for Bell and then went with it. Like,
oh my God. Oh God. I'm so over.
Like, if I fled to Mexico, I'd get some crazy new name. But instead, it's just like Bell in Spanish, and it popped up. He's like, that's it!
Wow.
Anyway, I believe he is now under arrest. But
I thought recently he went like missing, and the police were like, he's in danger, and everyone's like, what about the kids?
He did go missing, didn't he? Yeah, he went missing in Daytona Beach, Florida on April 13th.
There was like a weird story about that.
They
Something
did
about
find
he forgot his phone somewhere.
Well, it's that, and everyone was like, why are we worrying about this grown man who has been proven to be a pedophile?
Legal issues, and there's...
I'm sorry, but I have to pause. In the 2011 Fairly Odd movie, Grow Up, Timmy Turner, the 2011 was the first Drake Bell live action. Do you guys know who voiced Baby Poof?
Tell me.
Was it John
Randy
Mulaney?
Jackson.
Randy Jackson?
Randy Jackson. I have to watch that now. I have to know what scene Poof starts talking. It's Randy Jackson. I have to know. Oh my God. That's amazing. God.
But all this to say that Fairly OddParents led to Wishology, which is essentially the blank check of this show.
Right.
It took them 18 months to make this. It was their first big experiment with hybrid CG and 2D animation.
Yeah.
In this context, it's 3-hour-long specials, 45 minutes per hour with commercials.
Right.
Played over 3 consecutive nights. It was a very big undertaking for them, and it's okay.
Well, like when they do the 3D CGI hybrid, if there's a lesson that we all learned from the Power Hour movies, is that you cannot 3D CGI's Timmy Turner. He looks like a gremlin.
He looks nightmarish.
Do you guys see because Jimmy Neutron transferred to 2D like hand drawn like cartoons?
Well,
looks
anything
fine.
transferred to 2D is usually going to be fine.
It looks fine.
It's when you try to do 3D, and when it's the hybrid, it's too much for your eyes to just grapple onto.
No,
I brought this 3D Timmy Turner.
Oh my God.
But it's too much for your eyes to just digest all of this information that's in front of you of like these weird looking fairies as chewed up pieces of gum on top of 2D robots. It just looks really weird.
Yeah.
This thing is so wild.
Yeah,
I
it is
don't
very
know.
wild.
I'm just sending pictures of 3D Timmy Turner to all my friends right now. It's just like really unsettle them.
Just like his mouth.
Yeah, it's like
his mouth is like the Joker mouth. It goes all the way up to his ears.
Look at this.
Oh God.
Oh my Lord.
It's too much.
I mean, to be fair, like the 3D animation in Jimmy Neutron as a whole was weird.
Is nightmare fuel.
Is nightmare fuel in general for even its most basic characters.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jimmy Neutron has this really fun retro stylization to it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It all works together.
Yeah,
as one.
It makes a cohesive show. I'm a big Jimmy Neutron fan.
Nah, Fairly OddParents all the way, man.
I religiously watched both.
Sorry.
It's like being a dog versus cat person. I prefer both.
Like, I liked the Jimmy Neutron movie that sparked the show.
The nominee for the first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Jimmy Neutron,
Are you
Boy
kidding?
Genius? You're lying. You're lying.
No way.
Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius got nominated.
Yeah, the first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature was given in 2001, and the nominees were Shrek, Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, and Monsters Incorporated.
Wow.
Shrek won.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
of course
okay.
Shrek won.
So
It's a little funny that Shrek won over Monsters.
A little bit. But it's probably because, look, Shrek is an enjoyable experience for everybody.
Mhm.
Not to say Monsters Inc. isn't, because I love Monsters Inc. But if you're a grown adult who's just like jaded to the world with your little kid in the theater,
Shrek's
you're going to
do-
laugh so much more at Shrek
Don't
than
get-
you are.
Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, where they were able to get Patrick Stewart as
and Martin Short.
King Goobot and Martin Short as Ooblar.
Wow.
Those
like-
guys will do anything.
Yeah.
The second year of the Best Animated Feature Academy Award, the nominees were Spirited Away, Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and Treasure Planet.
Wow.
We got to talk about
Please tell
Spirit,
me-
Stallion of the Cimarron real quick.
I was going to say Spirited Away,
Spirited Away did win.
of course, as it should.
But Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron is a fun movie where you can change any of the words in the title and it still works. Because it's Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. You can make it Stallion, Spirit of the Cimarron. Or you can make it Cimarron, Stallion of the Spirit, Spirit of the Stallion, Cimarron of the Spirit, Cimarron of the Stallion.
Yeah, I guess it
Any
does
combination
work
of the words
anyway.
in that title works.
Of Stallion, the Cimarron Spirit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right?
I mean, of mice and men walked so that of
So that
spirit the stallion could run.
Of men and mice.
Alexa, lights on.
Wow, you think she's so fancy.
Look, it's snowing outside.
Yeah, I know. What is this bullshit?
Is it snowing outside?
Yeah, what is this bullshit?
And this episode's getting released
In the summer.
in the summer. Folks, we were recording in what's the date today? April 22nd, Chicago, Illinois. It is snowing outside.
People will be listening to this episode on June 9th.
Fuck.
Yeah.
June 9th,
Yes.
right
That's-
before the fateful day.
Yeah. 2 days before.
2 days before the fateful day.
What's happening on June 10th?
No, I was
June
making the
11th.
joke.
June 11th.
What happens at 11 o'clock?
What happens at 11 o'clock?
Nothing. Nothing happens. I get my teeth pulled.
Well, that's how most people equate marriage.
I had the old ball and chain on. No.
Oh, Becca, don't listen. Don't listen to that.
No. Okay. Back to Wishology.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've gone
Where did
really
I fucking leave
sidetracked.
off? Where was I?
I don't remember.
We were talking about animated
Oh, it was
feature.
released in hour long.
Oh yeah, 3 hour long increments.
Yeah.
And it's a moderate success. We'll talk about that at the end. Do we want to dive into the plot of this thing?
What
Yes.
plot?
What do you mean, what plot? This was beautifully crafted, okay?
Oh, no.
This is borderline incomprehensible at times, but
It really is. It's the same plot over and over, which I feel like is a joke of most trilogies in
Well, first they
general,
find out
like
that there's the earth wand, and then there's
Yeah.
the wind wand, and then there's the fire wand.
Ice wand.
Or ice wand, and then they got to get the... Well, they're missing the fourth wand. They do fire,
The fourth, no,
ice,
The
and...
fourth wand is the friends you made along the way.
quite literally in this case.
The fourth wand is kindness.
Oh, my
That's what
God.
we learned.
You know what bit I do like about this that is funny?
What?
Is that it follows the plot lines of most trilogies. But it seems to miss why most trilogies follow this plot line. Because the first one of these, or the first movie in the movie, is like, it's the story of the darkness is coming, Timmy has to stop it. At the end, he successfully stops it, and it goes away. There's a lingering threat it might come back, but he stops it. And then the next one ends with a cliffhanger. And then the third one wraps it all up. I mean, that's the same plot line as, like, you know, your Star Wars is,
Lord
or
of the Rings.
your Pirates of the Caribbeans.
If you're looking at just the first
Yeah.
three, which I think the end is the best joke of all. Of
Yes.
like, he's like, at least there's no other wand. And then it's like leads to this possible like fourth movie where it's like every single franchise that's done a trilogy has a fourth movie that comes out. They always have years and
or
years
they at
later.
least like hint at it too.
Or
like,
and it never comes.
Right.
But the thing that I find so funny is like the first installment of this ends, it's pretty well wrapped up. Like they have a big celebration and everything.
They got Kiss.
Yeah.
They got
like
Gene
literal Kiss to perform.
Simmons to come in and voice himself.
Yes. And the thing that's funny is that, you know, Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, when they wrap up their, like, all their plot lines in the first movie, because if they never make sequels to Star Wars, it ends, they blow up the Death Star and they have a big celebration. Darth Vader escaped, but, like, that's a resolution you're happy with.
Yeah.
That, like, works if they never make another.
Yeah.
I like the joke that it makes here where it does that, and then the follow-up is the next day.
Yeah.
like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 basically has to kind of bend over backwards to loop the first movie into the overall lore it's telling.
Yeah.
Because we're not really connected.
Yeah, because the first one is a completely independent plot and it ends. If they never make sequels to Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one is a totally satisfactory movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have to bend over backwards in the second one. Well, actually, the Black Pearl was raised by Davy Jones.
Yeah.
And also,
and the way
Bootstrap Bill became a part of this crew now.
Yeah.
But he survived because of them. Like, it all works. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it is funny how this makes the same
how
joke.
None of this has to be real.
It needs a bigger catalyst in order to.
And it needs it makes the joke of that, but then immediately follows it up the next day.
Yeah.
And it's not funny enough to like successfully tell me that's a parody. Oh, whatever.
I don't know. I was reading also parodies of like book trilogies as well.
Yeah.
Of here comes the English major.
This is why we have you on today.
Oh, sure. Of the hero's journey, let me date you back to medieval times and all that work. But no, of like he's going on this basic victory tour that feels very Hunger Games. Yeah. Except he's just like basking in all the glory where he's like, yeah, I did that. I'm the dude. Or like also just the concept of him being like the guy. Yeah. Where he's selling video games, where that feels like it's throwing in the face of just not movies, but the people who make them, who are like, wow, we did that. We made this top seller. Here's the video game tie-in of the movie.
And it's funny because they are making all these at the same time. So they don't even know if the first one's going to be any good.
Success.
Right. They're just going up, which I kind of like.
They're having
funny, too, because it's released the next day.
They're
so
having their
sense.
cake and eating it too, is what they're doing here. And I'm not quite sure that anyone else gets to share in this cake in this scenario.
Not really.
Something I do want to quickly say is I've always thought it would be a funny second installment of your movie if the first one ends with your guy and he beats the bad guys and he becomes incredibly wealthy and powerful. And the beginning of the second movie is just like him getting a gambling addiction and losing all of his money and getting stuff back to square one. And that's your catalyst for how he goes on another adventure. It's like you've completely just bankrupt him in the opening scene.
Yeah.
I've always thought that would be a good bit.
I think there are movies that do that.
There are movies that do similar things, but like I'm talking like you start it with a poker face, like you're ma, and it's like a 3-minute montage of this guy just losing all of his money that he earned at the end of the first one.
That would be
immediately knock him back to square one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anyway, enough of that silly idea. So we start off with a CGI fly-through of Fairy World. It's Fairy World, right? Not Fairyland.
Fairy World.
Is it Fairy World?
It's Fairy World. It's Fairy World. I promise you it's Fairy World.
Oh, yeah. I just confirmed it's Fairy World.
Okay.
Yeah. I know my Fairy Godparents lore, guys.
This very strange CGI fly-through of Fairy World where it's like just, the CG models you going down the streets and whatnot. But they have
the still
fucking
figures.
2D cardboard cutouts of all the characters.
Doing crosses.
Doing crosses. And they're not moving. Their faces aren't moving. Their arms aren't moving. They just float by as if like there's a string and it's the cardboard flying it by. It's very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd
parents.
No.
One thing I do want to say about just this franchise and the TV show in general is like, this show, along with a few other shows, and I think Nickelodeon was the main one in particular, did you guys I mean, I don't know. This might be particular for like. I'm gonna pull the grew up in a small farm town community bit again.
God.
But like I knew very like strict
there better be some
religious conservative families. I knew some very like strict. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Keep it going.
No. I knew some.
I think I'm about to witness a murder.
Keep going.
No, not if you do that.
Go.
All right, so. All right, I'm gonna hit stop recording. We're not recording anymore.
Did the light actually go off?
I'll be disconnected. Let me just dial your mic down. All right, whatever. If the audience
keep it going.
If the audience finds this annoying,
all right.
then you can blame Jeff and give us 1 star. So no, like I knew some like really strict conservative religious families that banned their kids from watching Nickelodeon shows. And the reason why is because if you think about it, almost all Nickelodeon shows, the parents are stupid. Now you may think it's like, well, there's a lot of kids shows where like the parents are like very dumb.
Keep going.
All right. I'm just going to stop.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I see what you're saying because they're not only, the parents are not only portrayed as stupid, they're portrayed as either absent or
selfish.
Abusive.
Yeah.
And where it's like Timmy's parents leave him alone for long durations of time with an abusive babysitter in Vicky.
Yeah. And so I knew, and same with like Jimmy Neutron. Like I felt like I knew a lot of like families that like barred their kids from ever watching Nickelodeon shows for that reason.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone who barred Nickelodeon in general, but I had friends whose like parents were like religious conservatives, and they wouldn't let them watch this show specifically
because of magic.
Because of the magic connection.
Yeah,
the same parents like wouldn't let their kids read Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very odd to think that a show like Fairly Odd Parents has that. But what I also enjoy though is that Fairly Odd Parents kind of leans into that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Especially with the Wishology's like the middle-age concert thing, and they always like
Marf.
Middle-aged bladders, Marf.
Where
My
like,
back.
No, where he's like, did I pack everything? Opens it up, it's a crap ton of drugs, and you're like, oh my god, they're like woodstocking.
Yeah, they're woodstocking.
But it turns out he's like, here's my back medication, and here's my kidney regulator, and here's this and that, my blood pressure medication.
No, this show
he's
does
like,
not.
And Crocker comes in. He's like, if you don't have aspirin glasses or what was the other thing?
Aspirin, glass, and oh god, it was like
aspirin, glasses, and money for gas.
Yeah,
those were the 3 things that he needed, and he had all 3.
Which I think is like kind of code for the old saying of like, if you don't have ass, glass, and money for gas, glass being meth.
Oh, I did not catch that.
Yeah. There's another really like adult mature joke that I want to point out when we get to it. But
I think I know what it is.
You know what it is, school.
But
oh, you don't?
Oh, there's 2 different jokes.
Oh, okay.
There's so many.
So
jokes.
anyway,
this movie gets really kinky at one point.
It does get really kinky.
Look, I'll say with the opening,
the glutes.
Well, not the glutes.
The glutes. But I will say, just in the opening sequence alone, the wand and just the circle of darkness, the way that it kind of emerges, like, the entire time I was like, this
anytime this big red circle of darkness appears, a wand does perk up.
I mean, tell me they're not trying to say something there.
So
it's about sex.
We were talking about the beginning of this.
Yeah, so this movie starts in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It does.
Basically, we're doing like we're bouncing back and forth through trilogies.
Yeah.
Not really though, because it's Matrix, Lord of the Rings, and then Harry Potter. Yeah. And Harry Potter isn't a trilogy; it's more of a saga.
As the Wikipedia description of this says, in parodies of the Matrix, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter, despite Harry Potter not being a trilogy.
Right. So
Wikipedia is calling those motherfuckers out.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's more so along the lines of like he's bouncing back and forth on franchises that have chosen ones because he's the chosen one.
You are the one, Neo.
He's
Tio.
Tio,
which is pretty funny. And it's funny too when he does, like, he's jumping off the roof and like the multiple Crockers are right there, and it spins once and then he spins again and he's like, okay, we've spun one too many times. I need to
The
fall.
multiple Crockers bit being Agent Smith was pretty funny.
That pisses me off.
That pissed you off? Why?
Because he just multiplies.
Right, he doesn't change other cartoons.
Agent Smith cannot multiply. He has to touch a person. He's a virus.
Okay.
He infects.
Okay.
I've never seen Jeff so
Jeff
angry.
gets very passionate about the little things.
I like the Matrix.
Yeah, it's good. Matrix 4? Okay movie.
Matrix 4 maybe a masterpiece.
I was upset with the portrayal of Middle Earth because I thought it was very funny that Poof as Legolas. I thought that was just so cute.
Yeah.
But Cosmo as Gollum. That fit. That fit perfectly well. The onion ring.
The ring of power. It's like, this isn't a ring. This is a teething ring.
Poof takes it.
And then it's like, this isn't a ring. This is an onion ring.
Cosmo takes it.
And rubs the grease on his skin.
But then if you notice, Wanda like throws the like ring that was on her finger over to Timmy. And if you look closely on the ring, the inside says made in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I just started cackling.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really
It's such a small detail,
that
but
you
if
like
you
have
see
to
it,
stop to look at it properly. I remember how I spent 5 minutes just looking closely to be like, this is what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
But then they go up Mount Doom.
Yes.
To like throw the ring in. And then he throws it in. Everything is happy. And he's like, I need a movie with more action. And I was like, sit down, you little child. This Lord of the Rings franchise has the greatest action scenes.
It's the best, like,
Harry Potter
anticlimactic
has less action than Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
Because he throws the ring in, and it's like, and everything changes back. It's like, well, that was anticlimactic.
Like I was ready for like Cosmo to throw himself in after the ring and for it to like turn into like a pool of chocolate or something because they already built up that Mount Doom is chocolate.
It's some bullshit.
And I'm just like, why? Also, like, I feel like Wanda should have been Sean Bean. He should have been Boromir.
Killed?
Wanda dies in the opening
but that would have been a funny joke though if like Poof like started biting her and she was just like, oh, like.
It's great.
When he goes to Harry Potter next.
Yeah.
And he's playing Quidditch, or as they call it, like Humble Snook or some bullshit.
Poof, because it's a playoff of Poof being the golden snitch.
It's adorable.
It's very cute. Poof is very cute.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Poof.
The real question is, would Cosmo be in Gryffindor? Because they're all wearing the colors of Gryffindor.
Cosmo be an idiot Hufflepuff. He'd drown in the lake by accident.
Whoa.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hufflepuffs are not stupid.
No, I'm a Hufflepuff.
I'm a Griffin puff because like Pottermore cannot figure out what I am.
I think you're a Gryffindor.
I've taken the quiz and I've gotten both Gryffindor and Hufflepuff.
I think you're a Gryffindor.
I don't know. Honestly, Gryffindor is a little too.
What do you guys think?
It's too overhyped.
What
do you guys think?
You're a Slytherin.
I'm actually a Ravenclaw.
Oh.
No, you're 1,000. I don't believe that. You're 1,000% Slytherin.
No, I'm a Ravenclaw. Pottermore puts me in Ravenclaw.
I don't buy it.
I will say, like, I'm like 60% Ravenclaw and then like 20 or 30% Slytherin. Like, it is my second next class.
I don't believe it.
Why?
But
hold on, I want to pause the podcast. Why do you think I'm Slytherin?
Have you met you? You besides Jeff, you are the second most chaotic person ever. You will do a bit just to like just to fucking annoy another person.
I feel like that's more Gryffindor behavior though, to be chaotic.
To do bits?
Yeah. Or Hufflepuffs. I'm more conniving than that.
Yeah, that's a Slytherin trait.
Ravenclaw.
I would consider conniving to be Slytherin. I would think astuteness is more Ravenclaw.
I don't know. Pottermore says I'm Ravenclaw.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Sure.
You're not a villain.
Yeah.
Yet.
Look, Slytherins are not all the villains.
They mostly are.
They're just anti-heroes. They're the morally gray figure that when you're older in life, you like them more than the actual like protagonist.
You know what I like in Harry Potter?
Harry Potter?
That J.K. Rowling, a notoriously chill person,
Yeah,
with good political
done nothing,
viewpoints.
nothing
Has done
wrong.
nothing wrong.
Has made no hot takes.
Like, the last movie or the book is all about, like, Snape actually not being that bad of a guy. And how, like, there's light in the bad guys. Like, Draco
and there's darkness
Snape.
in the good.
Yeah. But it fucking ends, and they're like, all right, who wants to help fight? And all the Slytherins are taken down to the dungeon.
Peace out.
He's like, Mr. Phillips, take them down to the dungeon. Like, the entire, like, a student body. They're like 12. They're all taken to the dungeon.
Some of them are just
None of them stick around.
That's a quarter of your potential fighting force.
Yeah.
At least put them on the front lines.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff are basically non-existent.
I just think that's kind of like
that's true.
That's kind of interesting to think about in light of the viewpoints that she's just like, yeah, these few important bad guys are actually good. The rest of them can go fuck themselves.
And it's like, wow.
There may be four
There's
houses
only good and
in
bad,
the Harry
and
Potter
they
lore,
mix.
but there really is just Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Yeah,
It is. We need more.
We need more Ravenclaw Hufflepuff representation.
But
anyway,
I thought Vicky as Voldemort
yes,
was funny.
Moldy
wart. And she was like, it might not be moldy, but it sure is a wart.
What are you doing?
I'm just adjusting my hair. It was getting pulled by the headset.
Ooh.
I gotta get a haircut.
Wow.
So while they're playing Hufflefork or dumb Fucklebore, or whatever it's called, you hear Timmy Turner, stop, and Arnold Jurgen von Strangle appears on a broom, and he zaps Cosmo on him, poof away, and then zaps Timmy back to his house.
Yeah.
Timmy wakes up in his house, and nobody remembers him.
Yeah.
He has been forgotten.
I thought he wakes up. He wakes up outside his house, and then he walks in, and then his parents are like, "Who's
they call
this little
him like
migrant?"
An urchin.
Yeah, they call him a street urchin.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, enjoy the muffin, street urchin. We decided not to have a kid because we wanted to have more time and money for ourselves." And I was like, "Oh God, I really am a financial burden on my parents."
Yeah. And so then he goes to school, and this is where my favorite joke comes in. So nobody remembers him. He goes to school and he's like, well, if I have to endure the American education system without magic, I better be prepared.
Yeah.
Cut to inside the classroom, looking at the door. Door opens. He's in full bullet-piercing body armor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit! Oh shit! God damn it!
Yeah.
Like, holy shit!
And
very good.
He walks in the classroom, and
very dark.
Mr. Crocker is writing words that start with F on the board. And it's all just like fairies. But he starts writing the last one. He's like, F, U. And then he's like, who is the student? And Timmy's like, it's me, Timmy Turner. He's like, I don't know you. And they throw him out.
Yeah. Well, then he goes up to AJ and, Trixie, because, that's his crush.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you guys remember me? And screams out his name. He's like, I'm Timmy Turner. Boom. And then, like,
the Eliminator comes in.
is just
it's a big robot
present. And then
eliminate Timmy Turner.
And then he's like, oh, I wasn't supposed to say my name.
Yeah, he's got the, what do they say in Harry Potter Deathly Hallows, where like they got the taboo on Voldemort's name, so whenever you say Voldemort's name, they know where you are. They got that on Timmy Turner.
Yeah.
Folks,
it's just a tracker.
I googled Trixie Tang.
Trixie Tang.
That's her name. And I discovered there's a fan fiction show called The Fairy GodParents: The Next Generation.
Oh shit.
What?
What?
In which they have made Trixie.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh,
Those are some muscly thighs, and I'm living for them. I have never seen more muscles on a set of thighs than what I just saw with Trixie Tang.
Trixie Tang fan fiction. I'm gonna get off this page before the FBI arrests me.
They're gonna be like, "Why is this man looking at an animated character who is
softcore?"
What?
That's what I was kind of seeing. I got out of that page very quick.
Oh God.
So the Eliminator tries to destroy Timmy Turner. And then that's when Jorgen von Strangle
comes back again.
Yeah.
I told you not to say a name.
Well, before that, he jumps on. It's the funny joke of which getaway vehicle is he going to go on. And it's this. He's like, I need to get out of here fast. First up, a snail.
Yeah, just a big snail.
And then after that, I think this is the vehicle I would have taken, but it was the old man with the push cart, like right behind him. And I would have taken that because I would have just been like, hey, look at this winning bingo card, and just held it over, and he would have gone like the speed of light. And then after that, it was AJ's like hover vehicle that's supposed to also be, I think, a call to Back to the Future.
Yeah, something like that. And so they're on the run, and then Jorgen von Strangle comes in, saves him, takes him to Fairy World, and then kind of lays him down with the whole thing that's going on. That a long time ago, there was this thing called the Darkness that invaded Fairy World. Back then, all the fairies united, and
well, no, they used to be warriors.
Yeah, they used to be
tall.
They used to be like, think of
tall, muscly. They were all like Wonder Woman.
They were all
Superman.
Jorgen von Strangles. Imagine Jorgen von Strangle, but like 100 of them. That's what the fairies used to be. And so they fought back the darkness, sent it back into the far dark reaches of space. All the warrior fairies went after it, and all the stars you see in the sky are all the fairies that are protecting us from the darkness. But then when we found out the Big Dipper was missing,
the stars disappeared.
And he's like, no wonder Mr. Crocker said he never heard of the Big Dipper.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, it's okay because we have all the there's still a bunch of stars up there, right? He looks up.
They all
go out.
That is unfortunate.
And he's like, well, then you must fulfill the prophecy. And he's like, prophecy? He's like, there's a cave.
There's a cave. We will go there.
Get ready for this long journey. And it proceeds to be them going on this long journey. He's in the fucking desert.
Yeah. Climbing a mountain.
But then he stops at a rest stop that's porta potty.
You didn't have to follow me in there.
And they walk out and they end up back at the motorcycle.
Yeah. And he's like, well, it's like, that was kind of pointless. Wait, isn't that cave over there?
Like a scientist-free Wi-Fi.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yes. We use we use it for parties and events.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
So they get into the cave. There's some cave drawings. It's like, Timmy, you are the chosen one. And he's like, how do you know that? Because there is a man with a hat.
There's a man with a hat.
With a pink hat. Buck teeth.
He
has a TT written on his chest.
Timmy Turner.
So you must be the chosen one. And
Timmy's like, well, that could be anybody.
He's like, didn't you just say my name? Oh.
And it did echo a little bit. Yeah. And he does the little, like, little jazz fingers.
It's like, you said my name. It's like, oh, yeah. So I say, it's like, and you said it, and there was a little echo in it. It's the hand gesture. So the Eliminators come back, and there's another fight.
They go to Vegas. Or the outskirts of Vegas.
Yeah.
Where Jorgen sacrifices himself tragically.
Disguises himself as Timmy Turner, and he looks at him and he's like, Timmy, I may hate you, but
I hate them more.
But not even just that's all I got.
Yeah.
And leaves, and he's like, hey, look at me, I'm an idiot.
I'm Timmy Turner. Suck me off. Or suck me up.
Jesus Christ.
That was not a mistake.
And they suck him up into their vortex.
Suck me off.
Could you say that slower, Jeff?
Suck me off.
Up.
It is me, Timmy Turner. Suck me off.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the podcast.
It is me. I was elected to lead, not to read. Number 3.
So I don't remember what happens after that.
So he leaves behind the motorcycle. Like, the Eliminators leave because they think that Timmy is now eliminated. And so he's like, how am I supposed to get out of here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so he hops on the motorcycle being like, oh, right. This motorcycle can go wherever he wanted to. Proceeds to rev it, open the portal, and the motorcycle takes off without it. And the portal closes, and he goes, well, that happened.
I forgot. There's also a bit where, like, he's like, where are all the fairies? Like, don't worry, they're all in a very safe location. Then he turned them all into gumballs without their wands.
In a diner.
In a little diner in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, oh, I feel bad for Binky who's at the bottom.
It's me, Binky.
And then this like nerdy kid comes up, and then we get the most horrific
like,
scene.
And he puts in a quarter, he does it, and they're like,
Binky, no!
And
He starts,
Binky, yes.
he starts chewing on Binky. He's like, ow! We get a scene from, what the fuck was that Seth Rogen movie with the animated food that was dying?
Sausage Party.
We get a Sausage Party-like scene where Jeff has Sausage Party. Of course you do. It's for that food orgy scene, you sick fuck.
Good movie.
oh my God.
And so he's literally chewing on Binky. Binky's like, oh my God, this feels really weird, guys. And yeah, it's
and then all of a sudden he opens his hand and they're like, oh, Binky. And they're like, quarters. And he buys all of them.
Yes.
yes.
Cosmo's the next to get chewed, and he discovers that he can turn into a balloon.
He got chewed because he did the ultimate husband goal of when Wanda was the one who got picked. He threw himself in harm's way to save her. Threw himself in that guy's mouth. You have to also believe that Cosmo is probably not a good gumball flavor. He probably tasted rank.
Probably. But yeah, he turns into a balloon, and then somehow
a bubble. He grabs onto Wanda and poof.
Yeah, and
then they just float out of the restaurant, and then every single fairy proceeds to go jump into the kid's mouth.
This kid is scarred for life.
Orally assaults this child.
Yes, they all jump into this kid's mouth. He has overload of all the chewy substances he can't contain.
So many fairy juice in his mouth.
He starts to choke.
And they float away into the desert.
Yes.
As gumball balloons.
Meanwhile, Fatty or Timmy, he's accosted.
Are you going to do the voice for
what
the
if
rest?
I just did Schwarzenegger for the rest of the episode?
Honestly, I would.
No, don't encourage.
I encourage it.
Don't encourage.
All right, so what Timmy is in the desert.
God damn it.
And suddenly he is attacked by Murph. Murph!
Oh,
Murph!
our men in black.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All played by the same person.
All played by Patrick Warburton,
Kronk.
who has the single best voice in Hollywood.
Are you kidding? I wanted there to be a moment where they referenced The Emperor's New Groove, where he went like,
it
was the guy in the restaurant.
It's all coming together.
It was the guy in the restaurant who put Cusco in the back of his cart.
So we find the guy.
So if we go and find the cart, we find the cart, we find the guy. If we find the guy, we find Cusco.
Oh yeah. It's all coming together.
The diner scene from The Emperor's New Groove is probably the best 10 minutes of American animation. Like everything that happens in that diner.
It was pretty iconic.
My favorite's when they go to his house in the village and they just switch back and forth of jump roping.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so it turns out that they went to the other place.
Yeah.
that was a good bit.
Do you know that bit about Emperor's New Groove, how that movie got made?
No.
No.
It's basically improvised.
Oh.
Because
beautiful.
they were making a movie called Kingdom of the Sun.
Okay,
which was
supposed to be more serious.
Yeah, it was the guy who wrote or who directed The Lion King was doing it. It was called Kingdom of the Sun. It was about like a Mayan civilization. It was very serious. Like a big musical, and it just wasn't working no matter how much work they put into it. And so he basically got let go from the project. Some new guys got brought in, and they were just trying to figure out like how to what they could salvage out of this movie. And like, well, we can use these assets and just kind of make a comedy out of it. Sting had done an entire soundtrack for the movie.
Sting.
Yeah, you can actually listen to the songs online. They're still out there. Like Yzma has a villain song. She's trying to like destroy the sun, so it's a world of eternal darkness.
Oh.
It's actually a really good song.
I actually feel like I want this movie to get made.
And so they basically just went back to the drawing board. Disney's like, all right, you guys have like a year and a half. We have to put something out. What can you make out of this? And they all just kind of got together and they just started animating and like improvising what scene should be. The movie did not have a script. They just figured it out. They brought the actors in and just kind of riffed for a little bit in the recording booths. And then they're like, all right, now it'd be funny if they went to a diner and Kronk was the cook. And so they're like, yeah, let's just do that. So they would like design a diner. And they're like, what if they did a happy birthday song? The movie is finished. And Disney says, all right, we need a script to submit to the WGA.
Oh.
And they said, we don't have one. And they're like, well, we can't have a movie be legal without a script. So the director's like, all right. So he goes back and he watches the movie and he types up everything that happens as
he has
does
to
it.
transcribe everything.
Yeah, and
that's
so the
said.
script for Emperor's New Groove is transcribed from the finished movie.
Wow.
That's awesome.
There's this incredible article online called The Oral History of the Emperor's New Groove that I would highly recommend reading. It's like a 20-minute read, but it is so good.
Wow.
Wow.
It's just like all this, like the nonsense that went into
Just
it.
drop that little bit of gold to the.
Well, I know what I'm gonna go do after
Yeah,
this.
Fairly Odd Parents Wishology
They
episode.
brought like there's a whole character who was cut out of the movie, voiced by Owen Wilson.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
All right, so Men in Black.
Yes.
Our next joke along the way.
And Angelica, I'm sending you the article right now if you wanted to read it at some point.
Awesome. Which I don't know.
I don't know what happens. I
They
forget.
were. I remember that they were. Oh, it's because they bring him in. They arrest Timmy, and then he's at their like headquarters, and they're like, you know what? We did a whole history on you, and guess what? There is no history.
There is no history.
And they're like, who is this kid? And they're like, you. And he's like, you gotta listen to me. You guys fight aliens, right? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, he's like, there's this thing called the darkness, and it's gonna take our world. And they're like, what a dumb kid. And they know nothing. And then proceeds to like,
Yeah.
just honestly minutes of forgettableness. Like I don't remember much of their role.
Yeah, that's basically all that the guys do. The Murph guys.
It's like introducing them for the second and the third.
Yeah, because like he immediately escapes from them, and because they're like, we have tickets for Marf.
Oh, and then
Middle-aged rock festival,
and it's because the prophecy said the wand is under a rock or on top of a rock sealed with a kiss.
Yes,
where I think they missed the opportunity to have Seal play Kiss from a Rose where it's sealed with a kiss, but instead of it being seal, it's a seal.
There's a literal seal involved in the proceeding.
Like how funny would that have been?
It's a missed opportunity.
But they use Kiss and he realizes like
the guitar.
It's Kiss. It's
Ace Frehley's star-shaped guitar.
Around this point is when we're introduced to the lead exterminator who comes to Earth and gets a disguise.
He has a leather jacket, his glasses.
He like steals he's at a biker bar and he steals like a leather jacket and sunglasses. And something I like
Not
is that
parody of anything at all.
Well, what I like is in each installment he has to get the leather jacket back in a new way.
Yeah.
Which is the Terminator bit.
Yeah.
Have you seen all three of the original Terminators?
Yes.
All three.
Yeah.
Jeff.
The three.
Do I have news for you?
The three trilogies. The three in like there's technically only
The Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Yeah.
The thing I like about those three movies is that in each one there's a more convoluted way he gets the leather jacket. Because in the first one he just kills Bill Paxton and puts it on.
Yeah.
In the second one it's
to
a biker bar.
Yeah, a biker bar.
In the third one it's a strip club.
Yeah.
Or it's a it's a drag show.
Yeah, it's a drag show.
It's a drag show, and it's a like a cop or like a biker, skimpy outfit.
Yeah.
And he steals it from that, and it's like progressively playing on the bit that he gets the same jacket every time somehow.
Yeah.
I didn't even clock that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I was just like, wow, this robot looks really cool with a leather jacket.
Favorites that he's like when he walks around, he has his like predator vision on.
Yeah.
And he does the scans like boots, pants, underwear bit.
Yeah.
And then shirt, jacket, sunglasses, perfect fit, perfect match. And it's like, what if he found like the perfect boots on one guy, the perfect pants on one guy, perfect shirt. And he's like, I need your boots, I need your pants, I need your shirt, and I need your jacket.
If it needs, we can get it.
I think that his two robot buddies were the greatest characters. Because all they wanted to do was go shopping.
Chill out on Hawaii.
They're in fairy world and they're like, hey, we saw some cute little shops. Do you think we could go around to them? And he's like, what? And he's like, no. and he sucks them up and they like go everywhere. I don't remember if it was the first or the second, but they got pink shirts because there was a pink
it's the first one. They get
pink shirt store.
I'm gonna skip kind of close to the end because I think that's all we really have.
We basically are at the end.
Timmy goes to Marv, where Kiss is performing, sees
a sea of middle-aged
the white
people.
wand, which is like electric guitar, which they find out Kiss is actually the Galactic Protectors.
Yes.
That they are fairies.
Yes.
They are fairies, which I think is...
Which I think getting Kiss in a recording booth and having them record the line, "We are fairies," is astounding.
It's Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, the actual people from Kiss.
Yeah.
Yes, because the others are kind of just on the side.
But I will say, they've done a lot of, like, Kiss has a lot of, like, animated cameos.
Yeah.
Like, they're in Family Guy, I'm pretty sure.
Aren't they in this episode of Scooby-Doo?
I'm sure they're in Scooby-Doo. They're in The Simpsons and some, like...
They're in everything.
There was, like, a period in, like, this time era, 2007, 2009, where they were like doing like animated Kiss was everywhere. It was like, how guys, we're losing our market. How can we get better? Oh, I know. We could do cameos in kid show cartoons.
that's our big move.
That's our big move right now. Who's buying Detroit Rock City album? 9-year-olds. Okay. Which, to be fair, I actually did have a Kiss CD when I was like 10.
Oh, yeah, I love Kiss.
I have a Kiss record. I have a Kiss shirt. I didn't wear it today because I don't have it with me.
Was it because Kiss was like more like family-friendly rock, kind of?
Like, not...
By
I
accident.
think not...
Right.
Not... Yeah, in the beginning, it wasn't. But it ended up turning into that... But it's like they still like constantly like kind of push the line a little bit, but not enough for people to be uncomfortable with it.
Like Detroit Rock City is the most like milquetoast, like nothing's bad kind of rock song.
Yeah, and it's funny because like they're guys who dress them in funny costumes and perform music.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Gene Simmons.
They're
like basically glorified party clowns. When you think about it.
Every single, and this is how you lose every single fan of Kiss from your
Jeff, you know what we haven't done in a while?
What?
Alienated a part of it. Alienated a subsegment of our audience. Angelica and Travolting, we like alienated. Who do we alienate? Australians?
White Castle fans.
White Castle fans. Which I haven't done a White Castle bit in a while.
Yeah, and it's taken hold in your real life.
Yeah, it has.
That was White Castle's revenge.
That was White Castle's revenge. White Castle fans, Australians, British people, probably. I think. I think it's time we alienate another segment of our audience, and that is Kiss fans.
No, I like Kiss.
Kiss holds a special place in my heart. I'm not making fun of them.
Kiss.
I'm just saying, like, you know, when you really
Granted, I haven't listened to them in a while, and obviously, like, each of the individual members have their own, like, little, or not even little, like, have their controversial.
Yes, I was looking at
like Gene Simmons.
I was just looking at his controversy section of Wikipedia, which is longer than the rest of the article.
Gene Simmons alone has a lengthy list of, you know. Maybe that's why they did children's television, because they're trying to repair
their
his
public image.
Oh, man. Look at the glutes on that kid.
Oh, my God. So he gets their...
He gets
they
their
basically
guitar.
test him where they're like, how do we know if you're the actual chosen one? And he... I don't remember what
I think
he
he takes the
did.
guitar and he
and he
does
plays
something.
a solo.
Yeah.
And he's like, I feel it. And
you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
He feels it. And he plays a solo, and it like causes a tornado of light to come down and suck up all of the exterminators
and banishes the darkness,
which felt very much like for some reason I can't think of what movie it is. Probably like an insane number of movies where it's like the illusion of like they become good again and then they fade into heaven.
Yeah.
And they fade away in like a goodbye scene. Yeah. And then they go away and they're like, yay, we did it. Timmy's parents show up with Mr. Crocker. They're late for the concert.
Yeah.
They miss it and they have to go to the bathroom again.
And of course, old people. Am I right? America.
Actually, I need to go to the bathroom. No,
well, and this is perfect timing because we're now at the end where they're celebrating the defeat of the darkness and the Eliminators.
Kiss puts on a concert.
In Fairy World.
It's great. And
then,
at this point, I would love to tell the audience thank you very much for listening. You can find us on Instagram.
No, we still have 2 more of these to
We
go.
have 2 more parts to cover, folks.
But you know who shows up right here? There's a flash of light.
Turbo.
It's
Turbo Thunder.
And you hear a
Thunder.
voice.
And that voice
is Brendan Fraser.
At the end of the fucking film.
Yeah. What if this was the end?
That'd be so sad.
But he appears and he's like, I'm here to save the day.
And he is the chosen one.
Yeah.
It's like, it's me,
Pictured on the
Turbo
walls.
Thunder, the chosen one. And Timmy's like, wait a minute. What? You mean he's the chosen one?
No, before he does all that, he takes the guitar and he's like, there's the chosen wand. And he takes it, he plays this nasty guitar lick, and then he looks up and he's like, all right, here I come, darkness. And everyone's just like, what the fuck?
He's like, oh, am I late?
They're like, the darkness is gone.
Yeah, it's like,
They're
oh,
like, who
did I miss
are
it?
you? And they're like, you're not the chosen one.
Very, very metaphorical to Brendan Fraser's career, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then he goes away very sad, and he like almost in a sense vows revenge on Timmy.
It would have been perfect if we had a very similar scene like we did with Pitch Perfect, where they're all at Fairy World celebrating, having a party, a grand time. Kiss is doing a concert, and they're all chanting, chosen one, chosen one. And the camera's like doing a wide shot on the celebration, except that it pans over. We're in a bedroom. Turbo Thunder's crying under the bed sheets, muttering, chosen one, chosen one. Movie ends.
This is oddly a very self-autobiographical Brendan role.
Yeah.
Because he is the chosen one who came in too late. He's kind of cast out. And he has to go through a long sabbatical with some soul searching. And kind of come back as an older, wizened, like, part of the scene.
Yeah.
Which is where his career's at now. In his comeback period.
Did Fairy GodParents call their shot?
Did they pull a Simpsons and predict the future?
They kind of called their shot with Brendan here.
Wow.
I think it's kind of cool.
But yeah, the movie ends. Everything's happy. They have the one wand.
Yeah.
So
you would think, because we start the exciting middle part, the second one.
Yes.
And
do you have to go to the bathroom?
No, I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, maybe you should.
Yeah, we still have 2 more.
We still have 2 more of these.
I think we're
going
to speed through these ones. A lot less happens in these ones.
It's a lot of the same
They're very
stuff.
carbon copy.
Yeah. The second one, literally nothing happens. It's like a Star Wars joke.
It ends in where he's like, yeah, Timmy did this. Or no. I thought that's how they started the third one.
Well, they start with the third one. This one's mostly like they're at the cantina. And,
where it's like what is it? His friends and his mom and his dad get abducted by the Eliminators and put into Alcatraz.
Yeah, Alcatraz.
It's the Yugopotamians.
Yes, it starts with the Yugopotamians.
Because they need the
Fakeifiers.
A bunch of squid people.
Yeah.
And we get Mark back.
Yeah, Mark Chang. Who's the prince of
Where
Mesopotamia.
I'm like,
yeah, dude.
He's like, saw, dude. He's like, Timmy.
Brah.
He's like, my guy, dude. Where are we going? And he's like, you need to join me as my sidekick. And he's like, nah, I'm more of a mouse. And changes into a mouse and just eats wieners.
So they it starts with the Yugopotamian people, and the darkness comes and takes them all away and steals their fake fires. Mark Chang is Supermaned into a pod and sent to Earth as the last surviving son of Yugopotamia.
His dad doesn't get to finish his little monologue because the mom was like, shut up.
Yeah, mom shoots him off into space. And Mark Chang's like, whoa, Dad!
And you already know that it's going to be the running bit of this movie.
Yeah.
That they're going to continually send off the spaceship before everyone's on it.
It happens, I think, 4 times.
I think so. I think 4 or 5. 5 too many.
Oh my God, he's pulling out the second Red Bull. That's 40 ounces of Red Bull.
40 ounces of Red Bull, and it's not even 1 p.m. What?
Do you want matcha? I brought some matcha.
You did not.
I'll get some matcha. Keep going, guys.
All right. And so Mark Chang crashes on Earth, or so we think.
Yes.
Timmy.
It's a fake out.
Timmy, he's living his lap of luxury, and Cosmo and Wanda are like, you need to stop living like, oh my god. Cosmo and Wanda are like, Timmy, you need to stop living as such an egotistical person. And then
yes, because it's a solid basically 15 minutes of the film where he's just basking in his own glory, going from they have the wand just on the statue of Timmy, and he's like, I don't think they got my likeness, and Cosmo smacks his ass and goes, his glutes are too hard.
So that Cosmosy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
at this point, so Mark comes back. Or you guys already said that.
We've been covering.
Yeah. So
Mark crash lands, but in reality, there's another Mark.
Yeah. And so Timmy is like, he's discovering that his parents have been replaced by exterminators.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're at the part of the movie where what's like the movie replicant of this, where it's like everybody they know has actually been like turned into a doppelganger.
It's like the pod people.
Yeah.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's funny they do the same bit in the third one.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Because essentially everybody in Timmy's life has been replaced by.
But they only do the bit for a far less amount of time in the third one. Yeah. Because it's just supposed to be like it's an illusion. But he's tricked by the eliminators and thinking that his parents came back from the vacation. Yeah. From the second vacation they ditched Timmy for. Where Wanda's like, your parents missed you, and they're like, oh my god, you're back, we went on a ski trip, but we're gonna bring you to our Hawaiian vacation. And then he's like, just wait for it, 3, 2, 1, you hear the car speed away. And they're like, oh Timmy, we have a surprise for you downstairs. He goes downstairs thinking his parents finally love him, and they're like, nah,
it's exterminators.
It's eliminators. Goes outside, Trixie wants to give him a kiss, and he's like, I'm not gonna fall for their tricks anymore. And she's like, Timmy, I've been wanting to kiss you for so long. And he's like, oh my god, it's finally happening.
Eliminator.
And that's when you should know.
Yeah.
And then and then we cut to like a scene where he's just full on making out with an eliminator. It takes him an hour.
The eliminator doesn't know what to do.
It's really weird.
It's like, Timmy, how long have you been like? Have you not realized that's an eliminator you're making out with? Too long.
It pulls a Transformers 2.
Yeah, the Revenge of the Fallen bit, where Shia LaBeouf is like borderline like assaulted by that woman. Who turns out she's a Decepticon.
But if we do have to talk about another fantasy later.
Jeff, we just pulled out a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen bit, and you're not taking and running with it.
Look, there's something a little more important, a little kinkier that I got to talk about later in this movie.
Please do. But he gets tricked, and then again by AJ and Chester.
Yes.
Who they fall into the sewer. Mark is so happy.
Yes. Mark's like, wow, sewer did.
He's like, oh my, he's like Forky. He's like, oh my god, I am trash.
Yeah. All these people who got who are now eliminators were kidnapped by the eliminators.
And all the fairies are kidnapped as
they're
well.
They're like Cybermen.
Yeah.
Oh, Cybermen's so dark though.
Meanwhile, the two eliminators who were pretending to be Timmy's parents go on the Hawaiian vacation that the parents
that was very
funny.
And
the two of them are just hanging out on a beach in Hawaii.
One of them has a coconut bra.
Yeah. It's a little funny. And so Timmy goes off and he discovers that there's a second part to the prophecy in the cave, that there's a second wand he has to find. It's on a blue moon.
On the dark side of the blue moon.
On the dark side of the blue moon. And so Mark's like, we can use my spaceship. Look. And he presses a button and the spaceship takes off without them on it.
It's like, oh, and then they pulled up. Oh, we probably should have been on that.
And so Timmy's like, I know how I can get another spaceship. I just need a computer, a thing of cable. I need a laptop, an internet connection, and a whoopee cushion. And he posts a video online called Dark Fart Laser. And it's a Darth Vader lookalike supervillain.
No, because before that he has to find Crocker.
Oh, yeah, he does find Crocker, who has a spaceship.
He's like, I will only help you if you admit to me that there are fairies. And he's like, yes, there are fairies. And he's like, and I know you're not going to. Oh, that was quick. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, okay, sure, I'll help you.
Crocker,
and then
kind of a good
the
guy.
rocket
Got a raw
comes
deal.
up. The best joke I think that was made was when the rocket emerges and they're like, aren't you a teacher? How can you afford that on your salary? And he goes, you remember that budget the school set aside for the science wing? You're looking at it. This
looking
man
at it,
fully
kid.
admits he extorted
Guys,
this
I
public school system.
I have something to ask the table here.
Yeah.
What if Crocker got a raw deal? Because have you guys seen the episode that dives deep into Crocker's backstory?
Yes.
Cosmo and Wanda used to be his fairies.
Yeah, exactly. And
Until Timmy traveled back in time and exposed them.
and that was the thing. So Timmy incidentally let it out that there are fairies.
Yeah.
But he wasn't indicted. It was Crocker. So Crocker got his memory wiped. Horrifically too.
Yeah.
Because like he's like,
continually
no, I
had to
want to
do it."
remember them. There are fairies. Boom. There are fairies. Boom. There are fairies. Boom. And then he like keeps morphing into like a monstrous version of himself. And that's where he gets
He's-
the Fairy GodParents.
He's basically become Gollum.
He's trying to remember his godparents.
Yeah.
'Cause he loves them so much, but it morphed him.
But so then he posts on the internet the fart laser
Yes.
to Dark Laser.
Dark Laser.
Dark Laser, who's our obvious.
Yeah.
He's always been a spoof of
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
He's been
but
around
he's
for a
like,
while.
But it's like the very much playing into our now Star Wars trilogy.
And so Dark Laser comes to Earth and is like, why you make fun of me? No one take me seriously.
Because his minions are laughing.
Yeah. His minions are random kids in the street ride by on like scooters and they're like, ah
Oh, it's Fart Laser. Oh, God.
Thank you. We just lost all of our listeners.
Yeah. In one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And so they decide they're going to. He convinces Dark Laser to let them use his ship. He says and he brings Vicky along as well.
Oh,
they
then
have
he
to team up
signals
with the
her.
villains.
He signals her by just having a little cash, and
Yeah.
he brings the register, and she runs in
Yeah.
like a dog.
And so he's like, all right, so if you help me get the second wand, Crocker, I'll confirm for you there are fairies. Vicky, I'll pay you.
$20.
I'll give you $20, and Dark Laser, I'll let you kill me.
Which
And they're like, sign up.
I think Vicky got shorted.
Yeah, Vicky got a
She
raw
should
deal.
have gotten like at least $30.
Yeah, at least 25.
Like, why is the one woman
Yeah.
given the cheap end of the deal, huh?
Yeah,
Because
you know,
she's abusive monster.
You know what? Fair.
you make a fair point.
Fair point. You know what? He should have given her
she is
$5.
the source
Give
of
her
like
less.
she is the source of like
Half of his trauma.
half of his trauma.
And so they
Which
board.
in Timmy Power 4.
All right, so they board Dark Laser. They board Dark Laser's ship and go into space.
To the what is it? The
Frigidarium.
the Virgon system or
Yeah.
something like that.
And so they're all cold, and Dark Laser's like, here's some extra stuff I have around.
He gives Crocker a fur coat who he's allergic to,
Mark gets in like a robot body.
which is our R2D2.
Yeah, R2D2. Crocker, he's allergic to it, and he goes,
That's a good impression.
and Vicky basically gets like a robe and earmuffs, so she's Princess Leia,
Yes. And the earmuffs are the same color of
Yeah.
her hair.
coincidentally.
And then Timmy gets his Luke Skywalker
Yeah,
garb.
and a lightsaber, oddly enough.
And they show up to the cantina.
Yeah, they go to the cantina. Hey, you're a droid. You're we don't serve their kind here. That's
And
always
then
rude.
they ask for the specials.
Yeah.
And we think that they're going to sit down to eat. And
Boom.
boom. They're like, you're on the menu.
Yeah, everybody in the bar is
Looks like
eliminated.
meat's back on our menu, boys.
Have I ever sent you the article where someone tries to parse how
Yes,
the orcs would know what a menu is?
Right. And also, isn't there one where like Gimli has like a very attuned sense of like the anatomy of orcs and things like that.
Yeah.
It's launched in his nervous system.
I still think the best thing anyone ever did was just put regular Joe voices on top of the orcs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where they're like,
It's always funny.
What's that smell? Man flesh. They picked up our trail. It's good shit.
But they fight. Everyone gets frozen except for
Timmy and Mark,
who
get flung to another planet.
Yes.
And
no, don't they go to the moon? Or
Yeah, they get flung to the moon of the planet. They get flung to like a
the moon with a very big star.
No, they get knocked to a pink planet where Turbo Land is.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They do.
And they're like, we're trapped on this planet. And they're like, you're not trapped. And it's Brendan again.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, he finally makes his appearance.
Yeah.
Oh no, he didn't. He was in Fairyland.
He was in the
and
beginning.
he was banished.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he kept preaching. He's like,
he's holding a sign on the course as the darkness is coming
The
back.
darkness is coming, and everyone's like, shut. Or like
Just
he
shut
even
up,
shows up to some of the venues, and they're all like, you suck.
You suck, Turbo Thunder.
Boo! And then he's like, I am the chosen one. They're like, no, you're not my chosen one.
And so he
But it's
Not
Turbo.
my chosen one. Not my chosen one.
And they show up on Turboland.
It was an unfair election, guys.
He turns Turboland into a theme park.
It was a rigged prophecy.
But no one comes to his theme park because he's not the chosen
And
one.
he has Thunderwear
Yeah.
on sale for $20.
The idea is that Turbo Thunder put the cart before the horse and did the same shit that Timmy did. He just did it ahead of time.
Which is the big mistake. You
Yeah,
have to wait until
gotta
you're
wait.
successful.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But he agrees to help them get the ice wand or whatever it's called, the wind wand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they go to the blue moon, and they find a big rock monster with the wand in his hand.
Which I think the rock monster was their best CGI.
Yeah,
3D.
he looks really good.
He looked fairly good. Like he reminded me of the good animated Sinbad movie.
Yes.
Sinbad
Not the one we
Seven Seas.
covered. He looks so good that they immediately kill him off because he probably cost a lot of money.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't think about this, Angelica, but how does it feel that you've essentially watched almost every single Fraser movie that we've had to cover on this show, including the
I
bad
can't believe
Sinbad?
you.
I
drag her into
I
that.
did not see the bad Sinbad one.
Oh, you
watched
did
that
I
without
did
me.
watch that without you. I spared you. From
Yeah,
that. Thankful.
spared me or who'd you watch it with then? Huh?
I spared you.
I don't know. Who'd you watch it with?
It's another girl.
I knew it. It was his mom.
Angelica and I are dating for the audience.
Yeah.
I guess that.
Just gonna put
Yeah.
that out
Do you guys remember the Mummy episode when he referenced that really smart girlfriend who told him about the camels versus the horses? That was me.
that was you. That was Angelica.
That is true.
Yeah.
In the hidden room.
They answered a lot of questions I've had for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, how did the camels beat the horses?
I thought that was
It's
coming.
like, oh yeah, like they're running on sand. Camels are more adept to do that
Yeah.
than horses are. I'm like, this girl,
Yeah.
English, Harvard.
Oh no.
Yeah,
no,
Angelica
no,
went to
no, no,
Harvard
no.
for the listener at home.
No.
And that's just you're talking about Fairly Odd Parents, which
Look, this is everything I was missing in my college
in your
years.
life.
Look, if I can do anything, it's pick apart this plot lines.
Pick apart a plot line. And so Turbo Thunder attempts to take the wand, but he's flung away because
He's too selfish.
Yeah.
Because he also, he attacks our rock guardian without being prompted.
Yeah.
And so the rock guardian was like, nah,
Fuck off.
absolutely not. And Timmy simply asks for it because he wants to save everybody in an act that is truly selfless compared to how he was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Which I don't really know if I buy into it all too much because like this happens every single time. Like Timmy does have like his little selfless moments, but this kid is a very selfish person. Like Wanda points this out in Alcatraz. Like he could have given far less, but AJ a full head of hair because he's self-conscious about being bald.
Could he have given the Dinkelbergs a poop sandwich? Double stacked.
He said he goes to Cosmo and he's like, Monday, make it happen. But he could have helped his mom around the house
Yeah.
because she's obviously very stressed and she's a working woman.
Yeah, and Timmy's learning the
sometimes it's a
error of
lot.
his ways.
And he could have given Chester a new home after it was wrecked by a tornado. Cosmo goes, yeah, he actually could have wished away the tornado, but he didn't. And Chester's like, what the hell?
What the fuck?
You know what was
like,
a
let his best friend full on be homeless.
You know what was a very missed opportunity with the live action Timmy Turner films? If they didn't cast the dad as Steve Carell and Dinkelberg as Toby from The Office. That would have been fantastic.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is how Stuart goes back to his Jimmy Power Hour 4, where he tells you that those are the two people he's casting.
I'm casting Steve Carell as Timmy Turner's dad and Toby from The Office.
Oh my god.
As Dinkelberg.
Stop!
Dinkelberg!
But, so, I'm trying to help you. They finally, Timmy gets the wand and he puts it into this very weird looking emerged
He puts it into
stand.
Did you just say what it is?
No. What?
Okay.
It's very
Phallic.
it's kind
And
of
it's going into a very large
hole.
ovular hole in the sky.
It's
Yes.
pointed toward it's a little double penetration. But he does this and the wand doesn't work. And all of a sudden,
Listen, we've all suffered performance problems in the past. You know?
Speak for yourself.
Oh my
But
goodness.
but what happens? Oh, Cosmo, Wanda, Jorgen von Strangle, Trixie, Tang,
Yes.
Chester, AJ, and Timmy's parents all break out of Alcatraz after Poof,
Yeah.
after watching a violent movie, is
Knows
like
Kung Fu.
martial art expert
Yes.
and beats the shit out of every single eliminator ever.
Poof is their Jack Attack.
The poof scene is kind of. I like the poof scene.
The Poof scene, I think, was very well coordinated for
Yeah.
an animated film fight scene.
Yeah.
Um,
But they all get out and they
and
all
it's very fun.
Yeah, they all go to the the blue moon. They help Timmy Turner, but the darkness is sucking everybody in with its powerful suction powers, so it sucks them into the hole and
But the problem is
swallows
like
them all up
it goes
and-
sucked and swallowed.
nuzzles them all inside, and they
No.
can't get out. It's very dark. And
Well, it's attempting to,
Welcoming.
and then Timmy decides he's going to make the ultimate
because he's
sacrifice.
like, "What do you want,
as the
Timmy
chosen-
Turner?"
He decides as the chosen one that
Yeah.
he's going to sacrifice his life for the people he loves.
Yes,
And not before he gets a kiss from
Trixie.
Tang.
Yeah.
And he kisses her and he's like, I can die happy
Yeah, I can die now.
And I'm like, you're 10.
Yeah.
Like, and he gets sucked into the hole. Everyone cries. They're like, what do we do now? We can't get out of here because they don't have their wands.
Yeah.
And that's
Big
how
Empire Strikes Back cliffhanger.
and, the
and
movie
that's
ends.
how it ends.
And thank you all for listening to
Nope.
Travolting. No, we got one.
The final
more.
ending.
We got another movie to talk about.
The last one,
yeah.
which is the most forgettable of the three.
We'll
I-
need everybody's help on this one because I
Oh my God.
passed out. during
I
this
did
thing.
actually fall asleep during 10 minutes of it, but I did rewatch it.
Okay. We got full context here between the three of us. We can figure this out.
Yes. So,
It starts off, and Timmy is living in the Matrix.
well,
Yeah,
hold
Timmy
on,
is in a
hold on,
simulation.
Hold on. Before that, we get our
Oh, yeah, the
Star
opening
Wars
crawl.
opening where Cosmo goes, what happened on last episode? Like, you don't remember.
Yeah.
It was literally the night before.
5 seconds before.
And he goes, Timmy sacrificed himself to save his friends and family. And then the sign keeps going. He's like, that's it. And then it keeps going. He's like, we could stop the credits now. And it just keeps going. And he's like, okay. And then we open up. And I thought that was just the fact that I would just imagine someone at their keyboard just typing out everything they're hearing.
I've always liked the thought and that the crawl in
the
Star
narrator
Wars is a physical object that appears in the world, and you have to just avoid large blocks of words that are just floating through the stars.
Imagine that episode of The Mandalorian. They're on light speed and they're just going through, and it's like, so Grogu went, and it's like, what happened? It's like, oh no, we hit the text scroll. What's the text scroll?
Like, I
it's
remember,
very rare to hit it, but every once in a while you run into it.
Like 7 years ago, I remember right before Rogue One came out, I was listening to some guys talk about what they thought was going to happen in the movie. And they were like, do you think that the movie's going to end and like they're fleeing with the plans and you can just see the crawl in the distance coming towards the ship? That's how it's going to end.
Oh my god.
That'd be pretty funny.
Like, imagine the end of Rogue One when she's escaping and the rebel blockade runner.
Tanda 4.
I knew it. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, sure.
Tanda 4.
I don't
say
know,
the
I
Mon
think-
Calamari flagship is called Home 1. And like she's just escaping in the distance. You just see this block of words going.
Oh my god.
So there's a second target chasing us. Another Star Destroyer? No, this is thinner.
Yeah, it's text. It's copy.
They're like, it's Darth Vader, and they're like, what do you mean? It's like, no, it's
literally Darth Vader. It says it right there. I always thought that would be a good bet.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Timmy's in the Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah, Timmy's in a simulation. But then Jorgen von Strangle and the fairies,
No, we got to talk about the simulation first.
it's just his
So,
No.
no. Because it starts off, he wants a normal day.
Yes.
He wants a normal
life.
day. And then they gaslight the shit out of Timmy. And
Yeah.
they do his mom really dirty.
His mom is like
His
a
mom
hag.
looks awful. She has seen not only war,
God.
but
The
she has
face of
seen
God.
maybe the face of the devil.
Face of Satan.
But she has seen awful. She is every mother ever.
Ooh.
Just completely haggard. Not saying, I mean,
Talk about my
okay,
mother
hold
like
on,
that,
hold on. Hold on. But like I feel like what most moms feel like,
Yeah.
especially when, you got to take care of your kids and you have work and you have to clean the house
Yeah.
and you have to do all this. And so she's exhausted and she's like, yeah, you normally wish for your mom to look super beautiful for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, the fact that they have to
shit.
emphasize that it's for Timmy, that she's looking good for.
Oedipus complex.
But then he's like, where's Dad? And then
Oh God,
the dad comes in a full dress.
He in a dress, long, flowy, blonde hair, and he's like, I got us tickets for the dress-wearing Crimson Chin convention, but we're not going because you have school.
So here's where this thing gets really hot and sweaty and kinky.
Oh God.
Because the mom's like,
Mom, I'm
decked
sorry
out,
if you're listening to this.
and the dad is in a dress. And he's just like, I gotta take the dog out for a walk, and he puts a
the
collar around
on
the
his
mom while he's wearing a dress.
I thought that I was like,
If-
this is so
If that
offensive.
if that version had been continued to its logical conclusion, it would have been some
Well,
hardcore hanky panky.
but honestly, too, it's the fact that mom gets like a beautifying wish and dad gets a manly. And I was just like, what are they saying about
Dad
gender
would've-
and our roles in the household and image?
I'm just saying that Mom and Dad Turner would have redefined the term doggy style that night.
All right, this is where I
You gotta take that out.
make my exit. Stuart, it was nice knowing you. I don't think that this can continue.
Damn,
We called it. We called
we
it.
called it. Jeff and I said this podcast would break us.
But no, I wrote in my notes, kinky ass fantasy. Mom dog walked by dressed dad. And Timmy's like, no, get it out of here.
So then the fairies come in and rescue
Well,
him.
no,
Not
then
yet,
they have
because
the.
Vicky comes in.
Oh my god.
And he has his best day ever fantasy.
Yes, where he gets out of like a water slide. His mom is in
hot.
a dress and like braids, like very milkmaid.
Dad's like a fucking pirate captain.
Yes,
and,
he's
like,
like
swings
Jack
his, like,
Sparrow.
And he's like, we're not going to the Crimson Chin convention because I brought it to us. And he presses a button and they rise up into the convention.
Yeah.
They
and
couldn't get
then-
Jay Leno, I guess, because he's not here.
No, but then they're eliminators. I keep wanting to say exterminators because I keep thinking of Daleks. But
exterminate.
But eliminators show up at the door, and Timmy's like, "Oh my god, they're here!
Yeah,
it's over." But in his fantasy, because it constantly plays. This is our next bit for the rest of. Because our first movie, we had, what was the bit of the first movie? Because each one has its own designated bit.
Morph, Murph.
I think it was Marf, Murph, and all of that.
Oh no, it was the motorcycle.
Oh, motorcycle keeps falling off. Next one is rocket ships taking off without them because they're dumb and they keep hitting the button because no one thinks that they can fly it. And then this one is his almost kisses with Trixie Tang.
Yes. Who he already kissed.
Yes, but he only gets the one kiss. And it keeps getting interrupted.
Yeah.
And so it got interrupted at the convention. Eliminators show up, but it turns out the Eliminators are Jorgen, Wanda, and Cosmo.
I am here to rescue you. Come at me if you want to leave.
And he's so confused. He's like, what the fuck? And he turns, and all of a sudden, this feels like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think the whole thing should be scrapped, and this should become a horror movie of him questioning his reality. All of a sudden, Cosmo and Wanda become Eliminators.
Yeah. This is basically the Matrix Resurrections, is what this is.
Yeah.
Where, like, Neil Patrick Harris in the movie has the monologue about how he tried giving people a perfect world, and they didn't believe it. And he tried giving people a bad world, and they couldn't live with it. So he has to find the perfect equilibrium of suffering and excitement, keeping you so close to something you can almost taste it, but never letting you attain it. And that's basically what Timmy Turner gets put into. The poor fucking guy.
That's so deep.
Instead of Keanu.
Oh, God. Yeah. Timmy is Keanu.
Yeah. Whoa. I get a kung fu. Whoa.
Crazy. And then they take him. I don't remember where they take him.
They take him.
Don't they go back to Fairy World?
They go to Earth. Wait, no, I'm reading it right now. They go back to Earth because they get attacked by Murph again.
Right. Because Jorgen uses his wand against one of the Eliminators, and Timmy goes, no, don't do that because they're going to suck up your weapon and they're going to use it.
They're going to Kirby it.
And then all of a sudden, our one lead guy
develops magic abilities.
And he turns the wand into a dark wand.
Yes.
And he becomes, instead of the Eliminator,
the Destructinator.
The Destructinator.
And he breaks away.
I was like, that's kind of hot.
It is. I mean, my man's got
wow.
robo-pecs.
There's something about hearing exterminate, or what is it? Destructinator, where I'm like, that is more like hearing that, like, think about it, Eliminator versus Destructinator.
I'm like, Destructinate me, buddy.
you can Destructinate me anytime.
Any night of the week, buddy. This is oddly one of our hornier episodes. It's about Fairly Odd Parents.
What does this say about me? Oh, God.
It's like this and Still Breathing.
That
was a time in my life.
Well, because I feel like especially in a lot of children's shows, they're going to insert a lot more like subliminal adult humor, which a lot of it is just penises and dick jokes.
It's like that episode,
dick jokes, fart jokes, and just images of like just.
It's like that episode of the Rugrats where Grandpa's like, "You kids are gonna take a nap, so Grandpa can watch Lonely Space Vixens."
Yes,
and you're like, "Whoa!"
But you're not
Gramps,
a kid.
No,
you're like, "Oh my
Gramps,
God,
you got heart conditions. You can't be doing that."
Grandpa's got a penis pump. Like, man is taking uppers.
Oh my God, Jesus, Grandpa Pickles.
I mean, so many.
Buzz Pickles got a pickle.
All right, let's move on. For the love of God, we've been at this for around 2 hours now.
He's never had to spend this much time with me in an isolated booth.
Oh my God.
And so, the Destructinator breaks away. He pulls an Agent Smith and breaks away from the darkness.
Right, because the darkness is like he's like, I don't want this. And then the darkness is like, yeah, he pulls the ultimate mom move of like, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it. And like sucks him up, breaks him into multiple pieces, and throws him back to Earth. And the other two are like, the darkness doesn't have eyes, just a voice. Yeah. But you can feel it giving them like the questioning stare of like, do you want to go too? And they're like, no, like coolio, don't eliminate Turnero. Yeah, and like trying to be like really fancy, or not fancy. They're trying to be really surfer bro. Yeah. About it.
But they go back to Earth and they fight Murph.
They
steal Murph's escape pod and fly back to the Blue Moon.
Right.
While the Destructinator takes over Earth.
Yes, and it turns completely like a blue metal.
Yeah, it turns into like the Death Star.
Oh, wait. Are we gonna also forget that Jorgen gets ass rockets?
Oh yeah, he does. For I think it's glute shoots or something.
Glute shoots, but let's be honest, those are some mighty fine ass rockets. His ass is literally on fire. And he hits the metal beach. And he's like, haha, their plan didn't work. He didn't think about the fact that I can now use my butt rockets.
Yes, and escape. My butt rockets. The Groot rockets, they let me escape the Earth.
And he flies back to Fairy World.
Yes. To rally the forces.
Because there's another prophecy of a third wand.
It is crazy.
It's the ice wand.
And it's on Earth.
It's on Earth, but the prophecy also says that Fairy World is going to be destroyed.
Yes.
And everyone's like, no.
I made the mistake coming to Fairy World. It's going to blow up. They should have had Arnold voice this guy. It would have been...
Who voices him?
Very expensive.
He is... do you see who he's voiced by?
Watch it be Patrick Warburton.
Jorgen von Strangle is voiced by... Jorgen von Strangle. Yeah. Jorgen von Strangle. I'm on the Fairy GodParents wiki right now.
Oh, not the fandom.
He is voiced by Darren Norris. Oh, he's voiced by the same guy who does Cosmo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Doesn't he also play the dad?
Yes. He also plays Gordy on Ned's Declassified. If anyone watch that.
I fucking loved Gordy.
But
Stuart, you're very quiet.
Stuart is like losing his fucking mind right now.
I think it's because we haven't gotten to the part where he was awake for it.
That would be this whole third act.
The Destructinator plants explosives on Earth and he's going to blow up the Earth. This is his idea. He's going to convince the darkness to swallow the Earth while Timmy's on it and wipe out both of his enemies at the same time.
Yes.
And so they go to the Blue...
Ultimate Judas.
They first go to the Blue Moon, Timmy and his band of miscreants, and they discover next to the Wind Wand Turbo Thunder, who is now weakened.
He is castawayed.
Yes, he even has a rock with a face
on it. But
he gives them his backstory.
Yes, which is very, very Superman. Yeah. Again,
it's full like it's Brendan just selling it in the scene.
Which is the most screen time too that they've given Brendan. Yeah, because in the first two combined, I feel like he barely had
4 minutes max,
if that.
Yeah, and so in this one, he's just like he tells them the story. He was a peaceful planet called Turbo World. The darkness showed up. They shot rockets at it. It then swallowed their planet. He was sent away by his parents, but everyone else was swallowed by the darkness. He landed on Fairy World. He discovered the prophecy, and he trained his entire life to be the Chosen One. But he overslept the day the darkness showed up and did not succeed.
I thought it was really funny that they had a Chosen One contest.
Yes.
Where they were just like, yeah, we don't know who it actually is. We just want someone. So come compete. And all he does is show his, his thunder pits.
Yes.
Which was a hysterical power. I feel like if you're gonna generate thunder from anywhere, I feel like it should be
his ass. That would be funny.
No.
I would like that.
That would be concussive.
What if he shot it from his ass? It would be good.
I thought you said, what if he sharted from his ass?
What if he shot it from his ass? That's what I said. That's what I said. I was the governor of California.
Oh my God.
It's crazy they elected the Terminator as the governor of California.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot.
I do too. And then what else? Oh, and then he asks
to go back to Earth again.
The Rock helps them.
Yeah, they have a training montage.
The physical Rock.
Oh yes.
Helps them.
It's me.
Shine.
Dwayne.
Imagine The Rock starts talking and it's Dwayne The Rock
Dwayne.
Johnson. That's actually a missed
that would be
opportunity
good.
again.
He'd be cheap at this time too.
Yeah. Because he did the Tooth Fairy. He did around this time.
It's me, Dwayne.
The Tooth Fairy. It was a Disney Channel or was it Nickelodeon?
It was a theatrical movie.
Was it?
Yeah, but I think it was Disney.
I think it was Disney who did it.
It's
but
it's 20th Century Fox actually.
Oh.
Sorry, You Can't Handle the Tooth.
Oh God.
The director of that movie was Michael Lembeck, and he is now apparently serving 10 years in state penitentiary for crimes of naming his movie The Tooth Fairy and making the tagline "You Can't Handle the Tooth."
I thought you were serious.
No, he is unfortunately still out among us.
What a guy.
But keep your eyes open, folks, because any day
Tooth
Michael
Fairy
Lembeck
2
might appear.
Tooth Fairy 2, Teeth Fight Back.
Oh my God.
The Revenge of the Cavities.
He apparently directed an episode of Baby Daddy. He's the director of Baby Daddy now.
Oh God, really?
Him.
But they use Timmy's teeth to reflect, like, they do like basically the mummy light puzzle.
Yeah.
To shine light onto the wand that then sends them down into the core of the moon, where it's it's like a second fairy world.
Yeah.
But there's no fairies.
Yeah.
And that's how they find the third prophecy of the third wand, the ice wand. And then Brendan, as he rightfully should, gets fed ice cream sandwiches and he bulks
He gets his
right
strength
up.
back.
And he's like, wow, these are surprisingly filling.
Yeah. There's a training montage where Timmy gets kind of swole.
Yes. And then Brenda goes, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And transfers his powers over. Yeah. And then we have
he
like
dies.
the full blown. No.
That'd
be kind of sad. But that's where we get our full blown, like, he's gone from chosen one to the mentor.
Yeah. He's gone from 0 to hero in no time flat.
No, he goes from 0 to 0.
Just like that.
0 to 0. And it's a little sad.
Yeah, Brendan he relinquishes his stardom.
Yeah. I do like the idea though of like the chosen one isn't exactly like
who you think he is.
Who you think he is, but it's also like it can change.
Yeah, there can be more than one chosen one.
Like it's one of my favorite tropes though, when they give you like a chosen one and then they kill them like halfway through and all of a sudden like 3D. Your whole the guy Elijah Wood.
Yeah. Wow.
But they like kill them and then it shifts the whole focus to someone else. And it's like the chosen one isn't it's more of qualities rather than a specific person.
I like a good example of that is actually the Lego movie. No, which is actually a very smart movie. But where like the entire movie, Chris Pratt, thinks he is the chosen one because of some religious reason. And at the end, it's just like the wizard just completely made up the story of the chosen one in hopes that it would inspire someone to live up to the qualities that a chosen one would need.
Yeah.
And so like there's nothing special about him necessarily besides the fact that he, just is a good person.
One could say that's pretty metaphorical for the idea of all of religion.
Welcome back to the podcast, Stuart.
Oh my God, he woke up, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were talking about like religious and chosen one criticisms.
His inner Indiana boy just like,
had to pipe in. All right, I'll go back to my hole.
Yeah. And so they go back to Earth for the final battle. They deal with the Destructinator first.
Yes.
All the I was about to say the wizards. All the fairies come from Fairyland
because they were imprisoned.
Yeah, they got freed by the group.
Which I don't really remember how they did it, but I don't really think it matters.
At this point in my notes, I wrote this movie is so long.
Yeah, they basically did like essentially Return of the King, where they come in and they're like, "We need your help," and they're all like, "Yeah," and they all come in.
Arise! Flyers of fairies.
But I guess
wings shall flutter, wands shall be casted.
Yarg.
A wand day, a flying day, and the sun rises.
But but I guess the one thing they do that is, you know, kind of nice is that shows like Timmy can't do this without anyone behind him.
There's no chosen one, it's a chosen group.
It's a chosen group.
Family.
It's the friends you make along the way. But
Fast X coming out soon. Excited to see it.
We're a family.
So Timmy manages to he tricks the Destructinator into chasing him into space.
Yes.
While the fairies turn the Earth back into the Earth instead of a metal ball of death. Timmy tricks the Destructinator into inhaling all the explosives he had planted in the Earth. As we know on the show, I love pointing out the weird hyperlinks on Wikipedia. In the description for this, it says, after Timmy tricks the Destructinator into inhaling the explosives, which is hyperlinked. And if you click on it, it brings you to the Wikipedia page for reverse psychology. I love that bullshit. Someone thought to do that. So he tricks the Destructinator into inhaling the explosives and then blows him up with the detonator he stole.
Yeah.
And the Destructinator is no more.
Yeah. I want to be a lit nerd for a little bit.
Yeah, hit me with it.
One of the things I think they did well was before the Destructinator became who he was that in order for Timmy to get away, he poses a paradoxical statement to the robots, which then causes them to completely malfunction.
Yeah.
Where he's essentially like, I forgot what he said, but he essentially said, like, you guys are supposed to eliminate the chosen one, and you chose me, but I'm actually not the chosen one, and the chosen one is actually this guy named Turbo Thunder, and all of this stuff. And then they're like, they like can't compute this, and they're like, oh, everything is mismatching together, and they can't do it. And I don't know, like Asimov's rule of robotics, or not robotics, it's like androids, where he has the 3 rules of like, you basically your top rule first is not to hurt humans. That doesn't count here, that's completely gone. But the other one is like, you have to follow your directives, and then but the third one is like, you have to abandon your directive if it brings harm to like a human. Those two don't matter. It's just the third one, follow your directives, and because he has told them this, they can't function anymore. And it's like the little loophole.
The paradox.
Hello, I'm back.
The paradox.
You guys all watch WandaVision, right?
Yes.
Do you guys like how like the trope about telling like AI or artificial intelligence a paradoxical question that makes it like malfunction and goof off? They essentially use that for like the Vision fight.
The Ship of Theseus.
The Ship of Theseus.
A finale to a show that was mostly good and then was kind of okay at the end.
Why was it just okay at the end?
The ending's kind of... All the Marvel shows have bad endings.
What? How did WandaVision like end? Because I thought
it ended with
witch fight.
Well, the witch fight. She becomes the Scarlet Witch fully, and essentially traps Agatha in like her own mind, where she's forced to forget it, and she remains her like Westview self, with all of her magic like locked away inside of her, and she's like forced to be this fake version of herself. The kids go away because she releases the illusion.
It's a very touching scene.
White Vision takes off because he needs to figure out who he is, and Wanda like can't forgive herself, so she is like, I need to disappear. So she goes off into like a remote mountain and builds a cabin for herself, And then it
And
does
she
the
becomes a
thing of
supervillain.
she's sipping her tea, like looking out into the distance, just like finally alone at peace, what you think. But inside it's just a projection of herself, and inside she is reading the Darkhold, where she hears her children go, Mom, and she like snaps.
Is that what you're referring to? Because I thought the whole scene where she's like saying goodbye to Vision and she disappears all the illusions. I like
she's
that.
like, you
like that
are
bit.
my love.
I think the first 4 episodes of WandaVision are great. I think episodes 5 through 7 are okay. They're like mostly good. And then I don't like the ending because like the show it's like set up as this very unique idea. Like it's playing with formats, it's playing with ideas and conversations, and then it just ends with a pretty generic Marvel fight. Like the last episode's just like them floating and throwing things at each other.
It would have been cool if they felt like they fought through different versions of like Westview.
Yeah, like every Marvel show or movie ends with a very generic previs fight, and that one is especially very cognizant.
Like
like the
granted,
scene-
it plays through sitcoms, so it's also gonna be hard to like because I thought it would have been fun to play with other formats of TV. Like if they all of a sudden it becomes Timmy Jimmy Power Hour and they fall into like a 3D.
It doesn't even have to play with like necessarily. It doesn't even have to end in a fight scene. It's just that it ends in this very generic Marvel fight. Because Marvel previses all their fights before they even have directors attached. So you just kind of get your fight scenes.
Really?
Yeah, you just kind of get. That's why
they feel like carbon copies.
Yeah, that's why all the fights feel the same, unless like it's someone like Sam Raimi who has very much works in their system.
Were great fight scenes that he did.
But that's like the Taika Waititi approach. Is that when he was hired for Thor Ragnarok,
They had already done.
They're like, you figure out all of the
in between,
all the scenes, all the characterization. We'll do the fights. And
I don't know if I would be able to sign on to something like that.
And so that's why you watch Thor Ragnarok and like it has a lot of I think that movie works very well. It has a lot of personality. I like that movie a lot. But then the fight scenes it's Marvel.
It falls. Yeah.
He like gets a lot of lightning and he jumps and he punches someone.
Yeah.
My whole bit on that was just saying that I like the ending of WandaVision because of her heartfelt goodbye to Vision.
That scene's good.
Yeah.
I think your gripe is more with just how Marvelized it becomes.
I feel like you're taking a very specific point of the finale and then
something can have a good sequence and overall be a disappointment.
Okay. But the fight was what made the whole thing.
Yeah, it's that the whole the ending doesn't tie up a lot of ends. Like Kat Dennings has one shot in the finale. She comes in and crashes into a bad guy and then she just disappears.
Which I feel like they set her up so much that I wanted more from her.
And I've been led to believe the last episode of WandaVision was not filmed before the pandemic, and they had to come back and shoot that down the line.
Oh, they had to reshoot or something?
They had to reshoot. They had to basically jank together the finale with the stuff they had already filmed. So I think that's part of the problem that I have. That's why. Mm-hmm. It's just because like they didn't have all the material they needed.
Yeah.
So it wraps up the Vision Wanda stuff well. Everything else is kind of a whiff for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like I honestly wanted some more scenes of the...
You know what else has a wild finale?
Wishology. Oh my God. I gotta finish this fucking...
We've been talking for over 2 hours about Fairly OddParents.
I'm losing the strength to go on.
I'm losing my fucking mind.
Yeah,
we just talked about WandaVision for 10 minutes.
Take us home. Take us home.
All right. So the Destructinator is dead, and the darkness appears in the sky in its very sexual pose. And Timmy Turner goes and he gets the ice wand.
But then he realizes that, wait, has the darkness actually attacked anyone unprompted?
No, it just shows up and they attack it.
Yes. In reality, it just wants a home and friends.
It wants to be a smile. It's
oh my
kindness.
God. It was a kindness before it was a darkness.
And so Timmy realizes, all right, what we're going to do is if we're just going to cast pure light and kindness into this darkness and see what happens.
But he's like, I'm going to need more power.
I'm going to need everyone.
Well, then he goes through the thing of where they're like, we need to add other wind wands
to every
planet. They left out Pluto.
You know,
I know that Pluto was designated not a planet of our solar system anymore, but I was like, I feel like there should have been a Pluto bit.
I was pissed off in this scene.
Why?
Because he's like, I'm going to go put these wands on a bunch of different planets. And they go and they put it on Mars and Venus.
Mars
Mercury.
was funny that Jorgen was fighting with Pluto.
He's like, Dieter, come robot. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is fun. And then you know what this dumbass does? They go to fucking Jupiter and Neptune, which are gas giants.
They put
it on a rocky surface. These planets are gases.
They are gas giants.
They're just big gases.
But not only that,
they're just big balls of gas. Sounds like someone I know.
But not only that, they do the on the nose thing of putting Poseidon on Neptune.
Yeah.
As like, more of a mermaid
or
merman figure. And I was like, that's a little much.
We're not going to talk about what they do for Uranus.
Yeah.
Didn't they ignore?
Yeah, they don't go to Uranus. Because they already have the glute rockets. So.
If they had another Ada's joke, that would have really had an FCC conversation.
Anyway, they use this as a relay. They bounce kindness and light all around. They shoot it into the darkness, and the darkness turns into a big smiley face.
And then the Eliminator becomes a Huckinator, and he's like, I must hug Timmy Turner, and everyone's like, yay, and they celebrate.
And so they have a big party again at Fairy World. And Kiss performs again with no speaking lines because they clearly only got them for the one episode.
Yes. Our rock guardian shows up to enjoy this little reunion.
As does the seal and the polar bear.
The polar bear, I think, was the best guardian of all because he was like, what do I need to do to get the wand? And he's like, are you the chosen one? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, here's the wand. Like, he's like, I don't have any time for this shit.
And so they have a big party. Everyone's there. Jorgen's like, I'm going to race all their minds when this is done, but they enjoy it for now.
And then Timmy tries to go in for the final kiss with Trixie. And he kisses Jorgen von Strangle.
In the ass. No, he doesn't.
What? Hold on. Can we go back to Stuart's reaction right there? What was that? Did you just go,
I just had Flint in my pocket.
Notice he's ignoring it.
Yeah, he's ignoring it. He knows what he knows what he said.
And then everything goes back to normal.
Yeah. The end.
And that's
the end. Question mark?
Of Wishology. The longest fucking movie I've ever watched in my life.
They set up Cosmo drawing a fourth wand inside of the cave.
He's like,
He's like, oh, my bad.
But we all know we don't need a fourth movie in this installment.
No.
What we need a fourth movie in the installment 4 is Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 4.
So this movie airs May 1st,
coming
May 2nd,
to you
May
2025
of 2009.
I was 10 years old.
Yikes.
I was 10. How old were you, Stuart?
Stuart was 80 and aging by the minute.
I'm aging by the second right now.
I would have been 12, maybe 13. And so it's weird. The first one of these has 4 million viewers. The second installment only gets 3.6. And then the third one has 4 million again. I don't know why people tuned out of the second one.
Where did 0.4 million people go?
They just left for a day. It's one of the top 20 television shows on the cable network the week it airs. In terms of just broadcast, and it's not a show. We talked about this.
Did it broadcast in the middle of the week or?
It was I think a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And then it's the highest ratings that Fairly OddParents gets. Fairly Odd Baby had 8.8 million viewers during its premiere. That's the premiere poof.
8.8.
So 4.8 million people have dropped off the show by this point.
What were the dates?
May 1st,
it was a Friday,
3rd.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And then followed by Monday. May the 4th be with you.
This movie gets mixed reviews.
Well, yeah.
People are like, it's a little much. Maybe we could have done this in 1 or 2 installments.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Brendan actually gets some weird people are very torn on his character.
Well, because his character is very, very absent.
Yeah. Some people find him entirely unattractive and off-putting, and that he simply doesn't work and shouldn't have been in the movie.
Jesus.
Whereas some people note that he's hilariously pretentious and self-serving, and makes the second installment more interesting by acting as a frenemy with similar goals.
Yeah, it's the he has more of an arc than any person in this like film trilogy or TV film trilogy. But I will say he feels like he's the most invested in his voice work.
Yes.
And that's
He's
not to
putting a
say
lot
anything about Tara or anyone, because they've already locked it in their characters for the longest time. He is new coming into this with a brand new character. But he is screaming at the top of his lungs for a lot of his lines. He's like, I'm Turbo Thunder, and just going off. But I admire his just knack for having those peaks when his character is very confident, and then just like when his character finally in the third movie is just like, no, that he just feels so much more sad.
Yeah, and it's like, it's very evocative of where Brendan's at in his career, and he, this is, like we said, this is basically the end of it. Because next week we're talking about G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, which is the official ending of our mainstream success era within the podcast.
Yeah.
Angelica, any final thoughts on Wishology? I don't really have much else for the post-text.
Wishology, a trilogy about trilogies that could have been honestly scrapped.
Yeah, didn't need it.
I think would have been fine, or like could have had its own like single dedicated episode making fun of trilogies.
Yeah,
I don't think it needed 3, but I get what they were going for. But it became too on the nose.
Yeah, repetitive and long-winded.
Which you can argue then, like, oh, that's speaking on trilogies. Like, the middle movie is The Forgotten Child, and like the first one, is like your learning curve, and the third one's the baby of the family. But like it was forgettable.
Yeah, I agree.
It was very forgettable, and to be like quite frank and sad, Brendan's character was also very forgettable.
Yeah. Stuart, any final thoughts besides you fall asleep?
What? Oh, we're still recording.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm good. It goes great having you on the podcast.
Yeah. I've said my piece. Well, thank you so much, Angelica, for joining us today.
Yeah.
For your first appearance on Travolting.
First and last.
Oh no, you'll be back.
No, you'll be back.
Oh,
no way.
You have to reach the Tilly Club.
Yeah, you got to join the Tilly Club.
What's the Tilly Club?
6 times on the podcast.
6 times.
Yeah, he's now on 8 times.
Look, that's...
Oh, he's on 8 times?
Well, he's been on 8 times.
Look,
well, I got to do the math again.
Look, Stuart, that's a commitment.
Yeah, the Tilly Club.
That's a commitment.
It is
6 times.
6 times.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on. As a reminder, we are available on wherever you can listen to podcasts. Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, etc., etc. Pop to our Reddit, r/Travolting. Find us on Twitter or Instagram at TravoltingPod. TravoltingPodcast@gmail.com if you have any pressing matters to email us about. I don't know why you would.
Timmy Power Hour 4.
No, emailing about your gripe with Stuart falling asleep during the third Wishology movie.
You can find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Narg.
Anything you want to plug, Angelica?
No, don't follow me. No, I'm just kidding. Instagram, I guess, AMR264.
Yeah.
I don't post ever, so...
And then finally, thank you so much, as always, to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design, Michael Van Bodegum Smith for our theme music, and Ange Gardner for our social media. Have a great week, folks. See you next week for G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, joined by Mark Tilley.